What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, father, trainer, and manager of former two-division world champion, former junior welterweight unified world champion, former WBC welterweight world champion, Danny Swift Garcia, his father, Angel Garcia, is never short on words, and sometimes he can step in mud. Here we have another situation where Angel Garcia has stepped in mud. And you can see that Danny Garcia was visibly annoyed with the comments that Angel Garcia made about undefeated, unified WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Errol the True Spence Jr., just 72 hours ahead of their highly anticipated showdown this upcoming Saturday night, December 5th, at Dallas Cowboys Stadium, AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas, Jerry World. With that said, it's going to be on pay-per-view. Check it out. Highly anticipated. The ring return of Errol Spence Jr. Well, obviously, there's going to be a lot of interviews. There's going to be a lot of promotion of the fight. You're going to see a lot of the fighters on a lot of different networks, a lot of different platforms, so on and so forth. They have to promote the fight. It's pay-per-view. With that said, Angel Garcia always seemingly steps in mud. And once again, he does it once again. Angel Garcia, while Danny Garcia is being interviewed, Angel Garcia comes up. It's just Danny interviewing. Angel Garcia puts his hands on Danny's shoulder. Danny is sitting down. And he says to, he interrupts Danny. And he says that, well, we have been, he says, quote, Danny has been great to this sport, alluding to, unlike Errol Spence Jr., he's dedicated to the sport. Unlike what we know from Errol Spence Jr., Errol Spence Jr. has admitted that he over-celebrated in between fights. Obviously, he was out hanging out, you know, and just 12 days after unifying the titles against former two-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer, Showtime Shawn Porter, who held the WBC. Errol held the IBF. They was in the unification bout September 28th of 2019. Then we know Errol Spence won the fight. 12 days later, October 10th, he suffered a horrific car accident. And we know he was out celebrating. And we seen videos and clips. And Errol Spence is admitting of this. And he says that he wasn't as focused and disciplined in between fights. He wasn't in the gym. He was ballooning up in weight. This is no secret. Errol Spence has let the world know this. But we know that he suffered a horrific car accident that the world saw, and it could have resulted in the loss of his life. Fortunately for him and for his family and for the boxing world, that we still have Errol Spence with us. Miraculously, he walked away with minor injuries. And, you know, most people you see in situations like that don't walk away from it. So it was a blessing on the part from Errol Spence Jr., his family. But Angel Garcia says, alluding to Errol Spence's lack of discipline in between fights and alluding to the accident, Angel Garcia says, well, Danny, quote, Danny doesn't essentially disrespect the sport. He respects the sport. He says Danny never smoke any, he don't smoke hookah. He don't enjoy himself. He don't, you know, indulge. He says he never drink. And here's the big headline. He doesn't drink and drive. And visibly, when he said that, obviously, he's alluding to Errol Spence's situation and him possibly being impaired during suffering that horrific car accident. And Danny Garcia was visibly annoyed. You could tell from his body language. You could look at his eyes. He was looking all around. He wasn't, you know, you could tell from his body language, he was definitely very annoyed. For me, I don't understand why is this an avenue that people continue to want to take. This is a situation where this is not a sport. This is a situation that everybody should be understanding because like Angel Garcia and like many other people, nobody's perfect in their past. And we've all been in situations where you look back and you say, that could have ended completely different, and the results may have been a loss of life. So with that said, I don't understand, why is this an avenue for people to continue to feel like they could use this and poke at Errol Spence? Because you're stepping away from the sport when you do so. You understand? Errol Spence's family, his children, I don't know if his children per se seen the video. They're young, but he has people that love him, and this situation has nothing to do with you. This situation with Errol Spence and his car accident, affects him and his family. He wasn't using it to get at anybody else, or it had nothing to do with, the sport competitiveness in the sport or anything of that nature. This is a serious situation. So I don't understand why people would take the avenue or take the opportunity to use this situation to poke at Errol Spence Jr. Because it's just not an avenue you should go down, right? There's other ways to trash talk, right? There's other avenues to promote the fight. There's other avenues to, poke at your opponent. But this should never be an avenue. This should never be said. This is a street you should never go down. You should leave well enough alone. Prior to that, he did state that he believes Errol Spence is not 100%. Him and Danny Garcia believe that Errol Spence is not 100%. They feel like Errol Spence is still injured. They believe that, Errol Spence is, has a strong poker face on, and that they have the belief that they're going to expose the fact that Errol Spence is not 100% healthy, right? He has lingering effects mentally and physically, and they're banking on this, right? At any point in time prior to this car accident, majority of the boxing world would favor Errol Spence against Danny Garcia. He's just more versatile, he's more athletic, he's just more gifted in the athletic department. Quicker twitch muscles, about the same amount of power. He's a southpaw, he's very technical, but he has quicker feet. Your footwork and your foot speed is the most important tool that you can have within the sport of boxing. Now, some people are, successful without it, but not too many. And when you face somebody that has exceptional footwork with quick feet and educated feet, 9 times out of 10, that's the opponent that's going to win the fight. With that said, he has a high ring IQ, as Danny Garcia does. He has punching power, as Danny Garcia does, but he has all the advantages. He has a 72-inch arm reach. Danny Garcia has a 68.5-inch arm reach. So he nearly has almost a 4-inch arm reach advantage over Danny Garcia, but he has the edge in the speed department, and the athletic department, and the foot department. So with that said, he has the ability to get in and get out quicker than Danny Garcia can react. He has the ability to, fight on the outside if he so choose. He has the ability to fight on the inside if he so choose. He has the ability, to make it a dog fight if he so chooses. He has the ability, to utilize the ring, to the maximum of his capacity if he so chooses, right? So Danny Garcia is what you see, right? He's pretty flat-footed. He has power because he's sitting down on all his punches. He has power in both hands. He displays power in both hands because he's sitting down on his punches, because he's never on his toes. He don't have that fluid bounce, okay? So with that said, he's limited. And Angel Garcia and Danny Garcia, they point to the 2 losses on their resume at the hands of Sean Porter, who Errol Spence beat. Sean Porter beat Danny Garcia, and then for the vacant WBC title. And then Errol Spence beat Sean Porter to unify the titles. He lost also to former unified WBC, WBA, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman. And again, his limitations showed up in the fight. Keith Thurman was more fluid. Keith Thurman was more athletic. Keith Thurman had just as much power as he did. He has high ring IQ. And so Danny's disadvantages in the speed and the athletic department seem to always show up in these massive fights. And he comes up short in these two fights at the welterweight division. So with that said, most people expect that from Errol Spence. And I think that a part of this is them being, you know, feeling a little salty that they're always the underdog. And so Angel Garcia, you know, steps across the line, as he does in many occasions, and he steps in mud, and he crosses the line. So let's just listen to what he had to say regarding Errol Spence's situation and the comparisons. Now, I know people are going to say, well, he's just, you know, saying what Danny does and don't do. You wouldn't mention he doesn't drink and drive. If he doesn't drink, then we know he don't drink and drive, because he doesn't drink at all. So why would you mention drinking and driving if Danny don't drink at all? If he's never drank in his career, in his life, then why would you mention drinking and driving together when he don't drink at all? So if he never drank, then drinking and driving don't come into the equation. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Man, he's been loyal to the sport, man. He's 100% athlete fighter, man. He's not a part-timer. He don't smoke hookah. He don't drink alcohol. He don't drink and drive. He don't do none of that shit.
So you heard what he said, and you can visibly see. Once he said that, Danny Garcia looked like he looked away, and he looked like, right, because Angel Garcia is standing up over him. So he looks away and he's like, you know, here we go again, type of body language. Listen to it again.
He's 100% athlete fighter, man. He's not a part-timer. He don't smoke hookah. He don't drink alcohol. He don't drink and drive. He don't do none of it.
So you see, if he don't drink overall, then why would he drink and drive? That is a direct message to Errol Spence and the Errol Spence fans and the situation, the horrific car accident that Errol Spence drunk and drive, and thus the reason why it resulted in him having that horrific car accident. Listen one more time.
He's 100% athlete fighter, man. He's not a part-timer. He don't smoke hookah. He don't drink alcohol. He don't drink and drive. He don't do.
So there you have it. If he don't drink overall and he never drank in his life, then why would he drink and drive? So this is an avenue I just believe that it should never come to, right? You should leave well enough alone, and you can see the body language from Danny Garcia that lets you know Danny Garcia wasn't happy with the comments Angel Garcia made. Angel Garcia continues to cross the line in every other press conference. He says them. He said things towards Zab Judah that got everybody buzzing and upset, and they had to remove Angel Garcia from the press conferences and things of that nature. He was no longer allowed to continue. This is not the first time. He just crosses the line. This is competition, and we understand Angel Garcia is free speech, you know, but you have to know when to hold them and when to fold them. You cross the line into Errol Spence's personal life, and like I said, this was a serious, horrific situation that most people don't walk away from. So why make mention of it? It had nothing to do with Danny Garcia, had nothing to do with Angel Garcia, had nothing to do with the sport of boxing. This is just respect for human life. That's what that boils down to. So this is an avenue you should never cross. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, or on Word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.